Welcome to the Cordon Bleu London. My name is Chef Eric, one of the teachers here at the school. I have the pleasure, obviously, to introduce you to a guest lecture tonight, and a very special one. We have Chef Carlos Ripoll, who is a very famous paella master chef from Alicante in Spain. So today, obviously, he's going to demonstrate us and tell us, obviously, all about paella, and obviously the skills behind it, the knowledge, obviously the cooking technique, different method of cooking. His experience, obviously, all around the world, teaching, educating on the skills behind paella. Obviously, I look forward to learn, obviously, a lot. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's okay. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, can you just, okay, I'm going to show you the presentation today. And first of all, I'm going to talk about me, just for 1 minute, just to understand why I'm here and what I'm going to learn today. Okay, so the thing is that the following. Today, we're going to talk about one direction about me, okay, just to understand how I became to understand all these types of techniques. Then we're going to talk about the theory. It's very important to understand the 10 variables that you want to find when you cook rice. This is very, very, very important before doing. Then we're going to cook in 2 different techniques. And then, okay, we're going to taste it. Okay, in Facebook. Okay, so this is very fast. Okay, this is to just can read about it, Carlos. Actually, I'm not a cooker in my origin. Okay, I'm licensed in business analytics. No, because in my family, my father, my grandfather, they used to be a businessman. So I had to study before dedicate work to my passion, which is cooking paella. Okay, but this fact is really important because it helped me how to measure everything about paella and make business around this. Okay, a lot of people in Spain, you can also cook how they cook in their house with very authentic, traditional ways and all this stuff. And for me, because I'm economics, math, and so I didn't understand how you can do it. So that's why in my origin, I need to analyze everything and know and make this type of cooking something measurable and something precise. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the origin of the paellas. Okay, do you know that probably you can heard about all kinds of recipes? Okay, there's no limit for the recipe. It's like the pizza. But obviously, you can find many people, especially in Valencia, that they will tell you that the real one is the called paella valenciana. Okay, this is true. This is the real original one. Okay, but it's the one that makes a really great opportunities and methods and different recipes. The thing is how it started, like about 250 years ago. It's very important to understand the shepherds when they in Spain think about the 7th century, 8th century, what they used to have to do with the animals and the stuff. They go up in the fields, okay? They use this paella pan, which is really, as you can see, very thin way. They have they need they shoot gun or whatever, so they can hunt up in the fields, rabbits, chickens or whatever, and they care with themselves, all these green beans and tomatoes, and so they have to cook and get their own land up in the mountains. This is the real beginning of everything. So it's very important to understand how they cook everything in the same paella pan because they didn't have the opportunity or the kitchen to do this. Okay, this is what makes all a great opportunity of great recipes. But this is just the beginning. Okay, so what do the shepherds do? They go to up in the mountains. They 6 o'clock in the morning. They bring green peppers and green beans, white beans, rosemary that they can find in the fields. Everything. They hunt rabbits, chickens or whatever, and then they cook everything inside. Dry tomatoes. When they get their own water in the rivers, and they cook everything. So that's how this started. Okay. Obviously, this began to, as I was telling you, too many recipes about this, but with the same. So, but instead of only doing with the water, we have developed during this past 300 years with all kinds of broths and stocks. Okay. The same thing we have of the seafood paella, probably all kinds of paella from shrimps, fish, all kinds of seafood. The origin is similar to that. Okay, this is very important to understand how the fishermen in these old days, they have to go out in their boats and spend 5-6 months fishing everything and freezing everything. So you can imagine what do they eat during their homework. all the time fishing food, so they have to eat all the time the same fish every single day. So what's the beginning of the seafood paella according to the separate with the original one? Just make this food, that just boil it, no, the same food. So what they began to do is to separate all the stock, all the broth that they can find out of boiling all this kind of seafood and fish that they used to do. So what they did is make cook all the seafood, all the fish, and have, like, for example, for lunch, and during the night they just keep all the water that they have used cooking all this seafood to make a rice, okay, with the same techniques they have learned when they were in the shepherd by the shepherd. Okay, so this is interesting to understand how the techniques are different that all around the world, which you can find rice in all kinds of civilization. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna focus on paella. Okay, there are 10 basic variables, 10 basic concepts that you will never forget. Okay, we're gonna talk about all of them, but it's important to understand that these 10 basic concepts, you have to combine all of them. So it depends where you are, what do you have, your skills, your focus, all depends. You're gonna measure everything, how to cook paella. Okay, we're gonna talk about all of them. So this is very important to understand that if you, for example, don't take care of the olive oil, for example, all this measure is gonna be lost. Okay, it's very important to get all of them. Okay. For example, the heat resources. I mean, this is very important that at the beginning, you can see this picture with this man. It's like at the beginning that when you use all this direct fire from smoke and everything. If you can see in this picture, this is from a real restaurant in Madrid. You can see how the roof is really, it's not very high. You know, it's very short, very small, because they need all the smoke to be all around. You can imagine that they just use the fire in the engine and everything. And imagine that it's open air, open in the field. You're not going to be the same smoke, the same flavor in your broth. So this is very interesting to make it there, but you have to know all the techniques. Okay, this is very difficult. You need a lot of space and a lot of technique to do this. Okay, because you don't have control of the fire. But this is like the basic one. Okay, the smoke necessary, the ceiling top, and the branches. This is very important. See in the picture, you can see how they are very small branches instead of these big one pieces of food. This is important because you can control a little bit the fire. Imagine that instead of these small branches, you can use big ones. You will never have control of the fire. So some of the times you can add branches, you can just put them away and then get a little bit of control. Okay, so probably it's very romantic to see how people go up to the fields and they find, I don't know, these big branches, and it's very difficult to do it now because you need a lot of time to get burned and everything, so you won't lose control. Okay, so this is like the first one, the direct fire. Okay, now in all the restaurants, all the houses, you will find, they're like with the gas. This is very typical. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the smoke of the flames, but with the gas, you're going to boil and make everything. So this is very traditional. There are other ways that we will talk about. So all the developing of the last 2 centuries is going to be without out of gas, out of the flames. Okay, you can see there a small picture of a typical flame from paella. As you can see, the paellas are very thin and wide. You will need a long diameter of the flames to control this. Okay. Actually, the most of the people that they don't show in the TV, they don't show in the media, is that they use all types of ovens to cook this. I mean, you can see in Instagram, you can see in all too many restaurants, they're supposed to be very romantic and use the burning, the gas and everything. But the most of the people are using ovens because they have really control of the way how they cook their paella. For example, you can see the original one of the combi oven that today we're going to make one of the types that we're going to use. You can do it in a pizza oven. For example, you see the picture down, the big one. You can see 9 pizza ovens. There's one that I designed for a client, which he was interested in doing that because at the same time he was making pizza. So I have designed converting all these variables, all these 10 basic concepts to control them and to use it with the same machine, with the same oven. And this is possible. Okay, perfectly possible. Obviously, you can see the small one there. And it's very important to understand that in the oven, you can really control how the quantity of the liquid, the quantity of the rice, and everything. Okay, this is very technical. Okay. Okay, the types of paella pans. Okay, the cooking vessels. Some of the times you have seen, obviously, that they're very thin, wide. Okay, and there are at least 4 types of paella pans that you can use, and it depends on all of them are made out of iron. Okay, the first one, which is the typical original one, it's all full of iron, and a lot of people they don't use it anymore because the problems that we have is the oxidation. Okay, you know that when you're cooking with this only iron, when you just clean and wash and everything, is you don't really dry it, it's going to be a really chaos with oxidation, and as you know, this is poison, so it's very difficult to control. So if you have a restaurant or at home, you cook every 2 hours, you won't have this problem. But that's why a lot of people have developed until the rest types of materials, okay, who is more interested to cook paella. If you see those black ones, which are the small ones that you have here, these are the same one made out of iron, but it's just painted. It's like kind of melted. Okay, it's a painted one, so it's easier to clean. So you're going to have probably the same results. The thing is a little bit more expensive, but you won't have the problem of the oxidation. There you can find also the stainless steel, which the flavor is absolutely different. And there's a fourth one that probably most of you have a problem at home, that you don't have a gas, you don't have flame, you don't have whatever, and you have probably induction or electric devices or whatever. And like about 5 years ago, some guys in Spain, he made one of this type of paella, which I have one here, which is it's made on aluminum, okay, and there is this important to understand this diffuser, okay, because you can put everything directly in the induction, okay. Only this one will work. Why the other ones they won't work never? Because they are concave. The paella cooks, all of them are concave, so you won't have enough pressure, enough situations with induction, so it will never work. So only this kind of paellas. The problem is that we have only a 50 centimeter long, the maximum weight that we have. Okay, so this is really expensive. You have to imagine, for example, that one could cost about 90 euros or something like that. Okay, and it's only used for this induction, and you need a very big induction machine to understand all kind of this. So basically, we are focusing in the black ones, which are melted, which are painted, so are very useful. Okay. Okay, the cereal. This is very important, how to cook. You know that all around the world, the 70% of the world are eating rice every single day. Now, all the civilizations, this is very typical in Asia, in Europe, in America, okay? So this is one of the basic concepts that are very important to understand the paella cooking, okay? It depends on all the rest of basic components, but this is probably the most important one, as the size that we will see later. There are more than 100,000 varieties. This means that you cannot find all of them, but actually are more than 100 varieties of seeds of this kind of cereal. Okay, so probably if you go to a supermarket, you can find all of them divided in a group of three big families according to the size of it. Okay, so probably when you can go to a supermarket, you can find all brands of rice, and you can say names like Bomba, like Celia, all kinds of like basmati or whatever. You have to think that this became from the family. For example, you can find the long ones or the large ones according to the size, which are the Indic ones, the icing ones, which are very flavored. They're very long ones and very thin. Okay. Then you have the medium ones, okay, which are the most useful, the ones that are more used in Spain. And then you have the small ones, all the round ones. The round ones, the most seed known in the world probably is Bomba rice. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about it. The Bomba rice is very typical. The Bomba rice is very typical to use. People think that this probably is the one that we're going to use today. It's probably the people think that is like the more absorption and the more everything, and that's not true. The thing is, the Bomba rice have two special things. First of all, the skin is very strong, very strong. I mean, you need a lot of time to break the skin and then let the starch get out and let the flavor get in. This is very important to understand. That's why a lot of people, they say, okay, Bomba rice, the absorption is the highest of the world, because I use, I don't know, one portion of rice with 5 or 6 portions of liquid. Now, the thing is that it's so strong, the skin is so hard that you need a lot of time and a lot of evaporation to begin to break the skin. What is the problem? The second problem of why is because it's so expensive in Spain, or in other ways, the Bomba rice, that the production is really low. I mean, in any square meter, you can find the 10% of production from a Bomba rice rather than the other ones, because it's very small, it's very heavy, and you lose a lot of production. That's why actually you can find it in a supermarket in Spain for 6 or 7 euros the kilogram. that's too much. I don't know, here probably with the exports are a lot more expensive here. But in Spain, a regular or medium rye you can find for 1.5 euros a kilogram, 2 euros. But this is 6, 7, the cheapest one. But this is the reason. Okay, it's very interesting to use it, but don't feel that you really necessarily have to work with this type of rice. Okay, it's really famous, but the problem is a different one. Today we're not going to make it. Okay. Okay, the movement. This is very, very, very important. I don't know if you have ever heard. For example, I'm going to put the example of the risotto. I don't know if you have ever cooked risotto at home. That you're supposed to move all the time, to move, and keep moving because you want the starch go out. They use a special cereal which is very, very easy to break the skin, so you get all this creamity, all this soupy, because you are moving constantly the rice. What do we want in the Spanish rice? We want exactly the opposite. We don't want to move it because we don't want to get all the starch out, because the starch is very sandy, very, very creamy, and we don't want that. In this case, in paella. So that's why you will use the bomba rice, because you at the beginning with a very, very power of flames, you can move it, but as I was telling you, the skin was so hard, so it's very difficult to open. So you're beginning boiling, but you're not getting the starch out. So that's the reason that why we use it. Okay, this is very, very important. So, for example, if you're cooking in a flame, you can move it at the beginning, 7, 8, 9 minutes, that's no problem. But the last 5, 6 minutes, you shouldn't move it, because if you move it, you're going to get all the starch out. But there is a balance that we need the starch out, because we need, if you want to get the flavor inside the rice, you need to make a space. You need room. So the cereal needs to get a little bit of a starch out to get all the flavor inside. Okay, this is interesting. So it's very important to understand the control of the starch. This is very important. Second thing of the starch, I don't know if you ever have heard about something called socarrat, quemado, burn, probably some of you, that is like a little bit burn. This is important to understand that this is not that you have burned the rice. The thing is that you have caramelized and burned the starch. So this is like, it has to be very, very, it's the similitude to burn, but you don't really burn the rice. You burn all this starch, you caramelize it. So this is very, very, in Spain, a lot of people will like that, but it's important to understand that it's not burn. You don't burn the rice, just burn the starch. Okay. Okay, the quantity of ingredients. There are two ways of understand how many quantity of ingredients we use. If you can see those opposite pictures, which are very, very, very exaggerated. But for example, the ones in the left is very typical. If you guys find, for example, in Google, you find, I don't know, paella in Miami, Florida, you will find these kind of pictures. I mean, they put a lot of rice, and those more similar to a salad, rather than a paella like one. The main thing is that you can imagine that you cannot cook the rice as big it is, the quantity. I mean, I'm talking right now the quantity of rice for every paella pan. If you can see the one in your right, there's called arroz a banda. Probably you have heard about it. This is very, very typical from the east coast of Spain, which is with a little bit of shrimps or scallops like that, but not more else. You had all the flavor and everything with no proteins. No, they're not necessary, because the rice that we'll see later is going to cook toughly and in a better way. Okay, so that's very important to understand the quantity of rice and the quantity of ingredients. For example, today we're going to cook 28 centimeters, the diameter of the paella. If you can find it then, for example, in the internet, the builder, they will say, okay, this is for 3, 4, or 5 people or whatever, because they were supposed to make a rice, because all this way be very, very, very high, very, 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 not thin, the opposite of thin, okay, wide, very, really wide. But we're not focusing on this. Okay, this is very important to understand. Very small. For example, here we are using for one person, 100 grams, for example, 28 centimeters. If you go to 2 people, for example, you have to add this diameter up to 40 or 42 or 45. So as much big you want, you have it. It's the rest is going to be much better. And there is something that is very interesting to understand. For example, imagine that you have a paella pan like this, for example, and you're cooking with this part of rice, for example, and you use your broth. What is going to be the result? That the water is going to be evaporated, so it's going to be down. No, okay. You want to be evaporated, and the rest is going to be growing. So you have a very, very wide quantity of rice. The problem is that it's going to be like this. So your broth, your flavor is going to be less time cooking the rice, obviously in the parts at the top. Only you're going to have the opportunity to cook with your flavor the parts of the at the bottom. This is very interesting. Imagining the opposite, that for example, you are a very, very thin quantity of rice, and then you use 5 liters, for example, 5 times or 6. What is going to be the result? That you're going to be boiling all the rice, all the broth. The rest is going to be cooking, but with the same broth, the same cooker, the same proteins, it's going to be too much flavor. Well, this is what we're looking for. Another second thing, cooking this way is because you have more space for the grains, for the rice, and gonna cook in a better way rather than all together when they don't have enough space. So it's very important. A lot of people, they say, for example, I have a paella at home, I don't know, 50 centimeters diameter, for example. And I say, okay, I used to cook for 3-4 people. Okay, perfect. And for example, my brother-in-law is coming next Sunday, and I have to add one more. And I say, okay, one portion of liquid. Okay, this is going to destroy everything because, okay, this is diameter, this is an area, so this is completely different. It's better to grow in a different paella pan, okay, to grow for people. So I think that probably wouldn't say, okay, we cannot have 3 or 4 or 5 paella pans at home, but I will recommend it because otherwise it's going to be very difficult and you won't have like the top way of cooking them. Okay. Okay, the quality. Obviously, the quality, the ingredients. It's not the most important. Is not to be a great broth, a great shrimps, a great meat. This is not really important. The main thing here is to make a stir fry or a sofrito. I don't probably understand the word sofrito. This is very important. As I told you at the beginning, in the paella valenciana, they used to cook it with water. So the broth is not as important as the sofrito or the stir fry. This is very, very, very important. I don't know if you have ever made this kind of sofrito for a different way of foods. For example, you can cook, like, I don't know, onions, green peppers, red peppers, or whatever. And then you have a mix or turbo mix, or you cut it really, really thin. You chop it, okay, and you can mix it with tomato sauce or whatever. What we do in Spain is something called sofrito, in this case, that we make all the sofrito together, but we turbo mix it, okay? So, for example, imagine that we want to use peppers, want to use onions, red peppers, for example, or whatever. So, in this case, we're going to fry it with olive oil. We're going to talk later, do our tomato, and then make all this sofrito together. So, we're going to mix all our broth with this sofrito together. So, it's going to be more flavor rather than the broth itself. Why is so important the sofrito? The rice, remember that we in the first 10, 12 minutes, the rice is not going to be inside all the flavors because the skin is hard and is not getting, the starch is not getting, doesn't let the space there. So what makes the sofrito? Makes the flavor get out of the rice. So the sofrito is not going to get inside. So, but the thing is, when you are eating, when it's already cooked, what you have a very, 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 very big powerful of flavor power is going to be the sofrito. This is why it's so important to mix all your sofrito with your broth. In my opinion, it's more important a good sofrito rather than a good broth. Okay, much better because the flavor is going to be more directly. Okay. The proteins itself, when you cook this in this way, are not going to be important in the flavor. I mean, I don't know, lamb, chicken, whatever, or any seafood is not going to be important. Okay, the protein doesn't allow something to the grain. Okay, probably if you eat a piece of chicken, a piece of shrimp, it's going to be good for you, but not for the rice. This is not important. So you have to concentrate in the vegetables and in the broth and in the sofritos to get your flavor. So you add your proteins more as an option, as an extra option. There are some exceptions like shrimps or all these lobsters where you need to cut the head and everything to get this special flavor. But if you use it as a seafood, it's not going to be really important in your flavor. Okay. Olive oil this is very basic. We'll talk it later. It's very important. As I was telling you at the beginning, how we have to cook everything. And you need that. There are the two basic concepts in the olive oil, but we'll talk later. It's how it's going to be salty, okay, how it's going to be cooking, and how it's going to be the flavor. Okay, but we'll talk it later. And other species. This is just for you. For example, if you have seen all around the world, the paella looks to be or seems to be yellow or something like that, right? Yellow, orange, brown, red. Here it depends. A lot of people, they use colorant, which I wouldn't recommend it, but it's okay because some of the times we use saffron. For example, it's very typical. Some of the times we use curcuma. But the thing is that you use the saffron, use the curcuma, you're going to add any special flavor to it. So some of the times you don't want to use saffron with all your recipes because all the flavor of the saffron is going to be all around. So you have to choose all the colors that you can use it. This is the same with the same as a species. You can use rosemary, saffron, paprika, whatever. This is, you can use it obviously in the sofrito. Okay. Okay, the olive oil that I was telling you before. This has been too many. I have been in too many forums talking about this. There is a quantity that people are recommended to use olive oil, okay, in your paella. Why this is very important? Not only about the flavor, not only what I was telling you by cooking, by boiling. The thing is that the olive oil is going to help to make your paella crunchy, okay? The way that we have the paella at home is because you have to, like in Italy. In Italy, they have the al dente food. We want to do the same with the rice. And this is not, I mean, we're not looking for having a raw rice. No, we want to cook it. But because when at the beginning, the last 2-3 minutes, when you at least you don't have any broth, the most important thing is that the olive is not going to be evaporated and it's going to be frightened in the last 2 minutes. So in the last 2 minutes, there's going to be frightened that you will hear the sound. This will help to make this dente rice and make it a little bit crunchy. So this is important to help open for the flavor. But at the beginning, because all the water is evaporating, the olive oil is going to be helping frighten it and make it more strong, more al dente, which is more interesting for this time of paella. Probably you want to try later, and you will see that it's a little bit strong, a little bit hard, but this is what we're looking for. We can cook it more. For example, the risotto, the cooks in Asia, they cook very, very, very overcooked, in my opinion. But in the paella, we're looking for a different. So the olive oil will help a lot in this. The second thing is that mixing with the beginning of the boiling is the olive oil will help all the brains to be separated to itself. This is like in a car or whatever. All the olive oil going to help with cooking. Okay. The temperature. Okay, this is very difficult to get the temperature because depends in all the variables. For example, you can have fuel at home, you can have a cooking vessel, you can have flames or whatever, but you will never have the same. This is practically impossible. I mean, you can have, for example, here you will have 2 types of flames that are supposed to be the same, but while you are using it, the intensity of the gas is going to be different. The only way you can control the temperature is with an oven. And if the oven you have 4, 5, 6 years, the temperature is not going to be the same. Okay, so get the temperature is very important, very difficult. But the thing is that the temperature you can play with it because, for example, today we're going to put our rice for 16 minutes, for example, and we can play with the time because probably this temperature here is not the same in a different this brand which is rational. There are all kinds where the temperature is not the same. Okay, so it's very important to understand that you can play with the temperature. For example, here we're going to say 250 degrees, and probably are not the same here than in Colombia, for example. The same machine, the same stuff. So what are we going to do? Just leave 1 more minute or 1 less. So the temperature you can play with it. Okay. The atmosphere pressure. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard that. The paella, if you have visited Spain, that a lot of people, they say that in Valencia or Alicante, the paella is better. I don't know if you have ever heard about this because they say the water is very special. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this. Why? And the thing is that, in Valencia and Alicante, in the Mediterranean coast, the water is very plumby, okay, very strong. And they say this is the big difference, that this great influence in the rice. And this is not true. Okay, the thing is the pressure. When you are at the height of the sea, the pressure is different. If you are, for example, exaggerating, working in Bolivia at 4,000 altitude, for example, you need probably half an hour to get the boiling 100% to get the 100 degrees. So the pressure is really important because the pressure is what makes different times. For example, if you are cooking with flames in Alicante, Valencia, for example, you need with the same cereal and the same protein 14, 15 minutes, for example. If you go to Madrid, which is up to 650 meters, you will need probably 2 minutes more. Why this is important? Because you don't need as much water, as much broth if you're in Madrid rather than in Alicante. So this is why it's different. A lot of people, they say, no, in Alicante, the water is different. No, no, it's the pressure. A lot of people, they don't take in account this variable, this concept, but this is interesting. Some of the times I have a lot of friends or a lot of professional, which I have helped. They have, for example, they learn in Madrid or in the up in the mountain. And when they go to their home, for example, at the level of the sea, they have problems and all the measurable, that doesn't work. And this is very, very, very important to understand, more than you can see. Okay, and the last one is the time. Obviously, if you combine the 9 concepts that we have talked about, you will need more or less time. Imagine that, for example, you have, I don't know, this in 150 degrees, for example, the oven, you will need a lot more time, right? Because the temperature is low, or you are more, or the cereal. So the time is what we really have to decide how long you're going to have everything or your rice cooking to understand, okay, when it's going to be really overcooked, okay? It's important to separate, for example, if you want a dry paella, soupy paella, or whatever. So I know there are not only the dry paella, as you can see. For example, in Alicante, where I am, we like it a little bit sweat, a little bit liquid, but just a little bit. I mean, I'm not meaning soupy. Because and we want to try a little bit with a little bit humid, because for me it's different. But you can put it more, you can make it more constantly dry, or even like as a soup or whatever. So you have to think about this, okay? So it depends on what you're looking for. You can focus in the time, okay? Today we're going to go to today. We're going to make there are 3 basic ways of cooking. One with the flames, that we're going to make one of them. One just directly to the oven, and a mixed way. Too many restaurants in Spain, actually I think the 90% of them, they use the mixed one. Okay, what did they do? They begin with the flames, with the high flames, making like 4 or 5 minutes the rice, and then they dry it in the oven. This is very typical. Okay, today we're gonna do the first and the second one. Okay, to understand, and we're gonna cook the same ingredients and everything, and you can figure and you can taste it later how it's different. Make it in flames or make it in the oven, but it's gonna be the same ingredients and same everything. Okay. Okay, before talking about the recipe, are there any questions or something they want to talk about? Excuse me. You. Tell me.
In the rice section, you had mentioned that there are all the other types of rice which you can use instead of bomba. What would be the preferred choice if bomba is not easily available?
In the medium one, in the medium family, there are 3 called Senia. Probably you can find I think in Senia, Bahia, and one called Sendra. Sendra, yes. Actually, I can write you if you want to. Yes, Bahia, Sendra, or yes, or Bahia, yes. These are the most typical for us. The thing is that if you really know how to cook paella, these are very interesting because they open at the beginning and you get more flavor than the bomba rice.
So I'm from India and we don't have, or it's not easily available. Like arborio now is very easily available, but
yeah.
Like these types.
But I mean, for the last 20 years, because I collaborate with too many brands, they are exporting too many types of rice to other. I mean, I have been in 1 month ago in Saudi Arabia, for example, and you can find, I mean, not the bomba rice, the big brands, but you can find round ones, and you can find also it's growing the market. I think you can make it with a different one, with Arborian or whatever, or basmati, for example. You can do it. No, you can do it, but you have to consider the basic concepts different because absorption is different. A lot of people, they clean I don't know if you have heard about it, because we're talking about the cereal, they clean the rice. I mean, they make all the starch out. I don't know if you have seen this before. They put in water like for half an hour or something, they move it, they put all the starch out, and then they cook it. It's okay, you won't have the problem of getting overrated, but the problem is that you're not going to caramelize all this starch. But this depends. Okay? Tell me.
Saffron do you recommend to use?
Saffron?
There are 2 types, yes. A Middle Eastern one and Spanish one. What's best?
Okay, and the saffron is very difficult to combine. I'll show you later, because the thing is that the saffron, it depends if, for example, you got an herbs from Saudi Arabia, that probably are the best in the world, and then Indian ones. The thing is that because this is very impossible to measure, because it's you can find the herbs, and some of the times in 3 days difference, the flavor of the herbs are going to be different because they get dry. So what we use in Spain is powder. Actually, I will see, you can find in supermarkets, this is powder, and you say it's 0.4 grams. And then, for people, for each people use. So you want to have, you can control everything. You can use 1, 2, 3, or whatever. It's easier to combine a powder you can find in the rather than the herbs itself. Because the problem is that if you really like the flavor of the saffron and use it too much, you're going to kill the rest of the flavors. So it's better to control, to use the powder, I think. Any?
Sorry. So I'm studying plant-based here, and we made a vegan version of paella where we did soy risotto instead of sofrito.
Excuse me?
We made soy risotto. So basically, we used soya, and we made like a vegan sausage situation.
Yes.
But we did not use any other protein. Like how today you're using both sausage as well as chicken.
No problem.
So is there any particular rule where you should have like at least 2 different kinds of?
Yes, well, 2 things with the soy sauce. I mean, first of all, the flavor, which is very salty, obviously, and then you have to consider it as a liquid. So when you count all the liquid or the broth that you're using, you have to take in account the soy sauce to use it. But for example, it's very, very salty, so be very careful in your broth.
No, not soy sauce.
Oh.
Soy risotto. So we made like vegan sausages.
I didn't understand you. Okay, yeah, no problem. You can use all of them. I mean, I actually I think I've told all one of you, every single Sunday in my house I cook paella, and I cook it with the rest of the whole week. I mean, I use everything. No, but this because not to waste food, and I cook with everything, all kind of food, veggie, whatever. I mean, the thing is to get the flavor, to make it really thin with enough fat, with everything, and you will get the flavor. And if you cook it really thin, because you need more parts of the broth or your ingredients, you're going to be more flavor. That is, you use it really, you don't have the real technique. And the flavor that you're going to find it, whatever you're using, is going to be okay. Some of the other products or proteins or veggies or whatever they use, sometimes it's better to put it as a toppings at the end, because you're going to get dry out of it, and it's not going to put any flavor on the rice probably. But you put it, and you can enjoy them while you're eating. But not probably not to the rice won't get all this flavor probably. Okay. Today we're gonna make what recipe? I think we probably you have theirs. It's basically chicken, green peppers, and mushrooms. Okay, and we'll have made a sofrito. Okay, and I'll show you how it works. Okay. One thing, if you use, for example, chicken or rabbit or lamb or whatever, normally we cook it before we put it in the paella pan. Okay, so what do we do? Is to make, I don't know if you can see the picture, close picture. Okay, here. Okay, you can see here how the chicken that I already is not really done. I have just marked it like 50%. Otherwise, you will have it so over dried if you cook it. I mean, if you cook it like to eat it, the chicken, for example, or meat or lamb or whatever, and then you cook it for 16 minutes or 7, it's going to be too much dry. So anything you use is the same. For example, here we're using green peppers, and we have marked them, as you can see. Okay, just a little bit. So we have to count that we will need another 15, 16 minutes just to cook everything and get all the flavor. So everything you use, okay, it's important to pre-mark it before cooking it, because you have to count with the last 16 minutes of cooking. Okay, the sofrito. Here, and today we're gonna use something about, I don't know if you have ever heard about morcilla or black sausage. Okay, let's see here. You can see it. Okay, this is I brought this from Spain. You can use all kind of if you're interested in this type of recipes, all kind of sausages or made out of porks or bellies or whatever. This is very typical from Spain. This is called black sausage or morcilla, which is made out of pork bellies and blood, all this stuff, and it's very, very, very flavor. What do we do with this morcilla? We put all the skin out, and then we just fry it. Okay. Then another thing that's important for us are for the sofrito is what we call the ñoras. I don't know if some of you have ever heard about this kind of pepper called ñora. Ñora is it's a pepper like this. It's like the size of the tomato. It's very round. Okay, this is very, 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 very sweet. This is sweet and sour. Okay, this is not spicy, and this is practically at least 90% of the paprika that you can find in the world is out of this style of pepper. You know, the flavor, not the spicy ones. Okay, so what we do instead of making paprika, we make a sofrito with this. What do? we just put all the tails outside and use, I mean, all the food that you can, the meat that you can see inside. There's a tomato, okay, and then fry it in the same pan or paella pan that you see the morcilla or the black sausage, and then mix everything, okay. Also, we are using the saffron in this case. So the powder that I was telling you, for example, this you can find it in too many places in different sizes or formats. But in this case, for example, we recommend 0.4 grams per person. It comes in a small flag, for example, here. See, and then you just use it as a powder, so you can count the exact quantity that you want to. It's rather than using herbs and them. Okay, so we use tomato and we use onions. We pick tomatoes and we use everything in a turbo mix. So I'm going to show you here in the camera again. Here, can you see how it looks like? Here you go. Okay, so this is a sofrito made with onions, tomato, morcilla, and this red pepper, all made. So we have already made before because you need a little bit of time. And what we have done, we have mixed all our broth with all this pasta, okay, all this syrup, all this sofrito, very important. So you're gonna get all the flavor. What you add in this sofrito is going to be very, very interesting to the final result of the paella. Okay, so in this case also, okay, I forgot that we're going to use mushrooms, okay, at the same time because we want chicken with vegetables, okay, but you can combine all this whatever you want to. Okay, now we're going to make it all this cooking in two different ways, one in the flame and one in the oven. So now we're going to, can you help me? We're going to put the first 8 paellas in the oven, and we're going to cook it at the same time. Here, what are we going to do? In this case, between 16 and 7 minutes, 250 degrees, and the portion is 1 rice for 5. I mean, 100 grams of rice and half a liter of your broth. Okay, this is exactly 250 in this type of degrees. Okay, so we're going to add the rice at the beginning. Just one minute. What? Bomba rice, yes. So this bomba rice in both techniques. Okay. The thing is that I also prepare everything, the mise en place, but I only put the rice because imagine that we can talk this half an hour, the rice will be cooking inside. So do we have to add the rice at the beginning, at the end? Okay. Can you help me? Zoom a little. Be very careful just to make sure that all the rice is inside. And okay.
I'm getting training as well.
Okay. One difference between making obviously in the oven or in the flames. In the flame, you can move, you can add, because you have seen here that we're moving the rice and it's not all in the right place. What we're going to do 5 minutes before, 6 minutes before the time, is open the oven and move a little bit. Because if you move it right now, you won't have any problem. At the beginning, you just, because when it's a little bit growing, no, the grain is growing, we're going to move a little bit just for the position. Because these are all concaves. You will see when they are all out that you can see some wet areas rather than other ones because they twist around. They are not perfectly round. So probably you can see it. So what we're going to do at the beginning is 5-6 minutes before, just open the oven and carefully just move a little bit, okay? Instead of doing with the flames. Once we have all them already on the oven, we're going to make the last one in the flames, okay? Okay. That's what it is. Time? No, I'll do it. No, just let it, just in case. Yeah. Okay, now they are done. Yes?
Broth and the protein, are they cold or
In a temperature, in a regular temperature. Yes, yes. If you put them boiling, for example, you will need 1 or 2 minutes less. If you put it, for example, from the fridge, probably you will need one more. The good thing of this is that, imagine that this, I don't know, this is brand new, for example, and the temperature is different. And for example, in 16 minutes, it's a little bit sweat. We can leave it there until it's all is the dry that we want to. Okay. Okay. You want me with this? This?
Which one do you need?
Yeah, like one? Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. No. Thank you.
We don't normally use the electric stove.
Excuse me?
We don't normally use the stove, electric one. We don't normally use it.
I think I can hear you. Excuse me. Because of the sound of the oven?
I'm
Yeah.
just curious because we don't normally use the electric stove.
You don't use electric stove?
No, I'm just asking because you don't use that one.
It depends. No, the thing is that for the electric one, you need a paella that is not concave. I mean, if you put this one, you won't have enough connection, so it won't work. Okay. Yeah. No, it's simple. Yes, you need fire, or you need, if you want to use an induction, you need to buy the ones that I showed you that are really big with this aluminum diffusor, so it's ready for that. You can do it. Okay. Ooh. This is third time today. Okay. Now it's boiling. More time. Okay. See here, one of the difference that we have between cooking this in the fire rather than the other one is that you can move the rice at the beginning. At the beginning, you don't have problem with the starch, so you can collocate everything and there won't be any problem. The second interesting thing that you can use in this one is that, for example, this is the first time we cook in this type of this type of flame, so probably you will need to add more or less broth. So that's why it's interesting to cook with an extra broth if you need to add. So sometimes I use techniques of playing what we call short. So it's rather to begin with not too much broth and keep adding instead of the opposite. If you have a mistake, calculate or continue or whatever, and you have too much broth, it's very difficult to mix this thing. But if you have enough broth, you just can add and just keep going. Okay.
Do we need to cook it on a high heat?
Excuse me?
Do we need to cook it on a high heat?
Yes, at the beginning. In this case, at the beginning, it's interesting in terms of cereals to cook like the top fuel that you have in your house. Okay, that's when I was telling you to not to move in the last 5-6 minutes. It's interesting to put the flame down, not because of the flame or the temperature. It's because we don't have to move. We don't want to move the grain. But the perfect way of cooking is that you have enough broth to cook from the beginning to the end as the maximum flame that you have at home. This is perfect. But you will need a lot of broth in that case. The thing is that if you use a lot of broth, it's going to be really, really, really tasty because it's going to be evaporating, and the only thing that is evaporating is the water. All the salt, all the flavor is going to concentrate inside. Probably you find that it's better to do it, and you have a better taste of the grain. Okay. Now you can move it. Why it's interesting to move it here in the flame? Because we don't want the grain to get added into the bottom, so they can get burned. So at the beginning you can move it because you don't have problem with the starch, and then you move a little bit because in this moment you have problem. We have like 15 minutes left, so you can move it and make sure that it's not added into the bottom, which will probably will burn it rather than the stir fry, the Socarrat. Okay. Towels. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, this technique that you have seen. This is very interesting for professionals because imagine that in restaurant, no, you have, I don't know, on demand 100, 110 services, for example. Imagine to have, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 flames using just for paella. You don't have enough space in a restaurant. Okay, so this is why I have developing in the last years to make it all of them in an oven, because it's more useful in a restaurant or whatever. You just have in a square meter, you can make 10 paellas at the same time. This is very interesting to cook. This is practice. Okay, so as I was telling you before with the basic concepts, this is what helps to be measurable everything, and then being professional, making all kinds. If you got a good oven like this, for example, you have an order right now, and you ask, I don't know, an paella of seafood or whatever. You just prepare it in a second and go inside. Just put your chronometer and then count it. Imagine that you open the door too much time. Don't worry, just wait 1 minute, 2 minutes more, 3 or whatever, until it's dry enough. Okay, this is very interesting, ¿vale? Rather than the mixed way. I don't know if you remember the mixed way, which they burn like here. Imagine we can make 5 minutes and then finish up there. This is okay, but the thing is that you don't control, and then you don't save space. You need the same flames and the same machine, the same oven. So it's more interesting to learn the flame way or learn the oven way. So it's like both of them. And you hear, imagine there are some rational models that you have up to 20 places, 20 stores. So imagine how you can produce in 16 minutes. And the quality you will try is great. A lot of people, they don't like when they see this. They say, okay, this is not going to be paella. You will try it. You have the opportunity, and you will see how it's really, really, really cooking. So you have to measure everything, the times, the liquid, the olive oil, everything to calculate. Because the problem of cooking in the oven is that you cannot measure anything. I mean, you cannot add something, add water. You're not probably. If you make a mistake, you have a problem. So that's why you have to take in account all these concepts, no, the exact minutes, the same oil, everything. Okay.
For risotto, for example,
Uh-huh.
for risotto, we can cook the rice a bit in advance, right? Like we can let it pre-cook it.
Yeah.
If I do it with the bomba rice, it can work as well if I measure the.
It will work, but you need more time, and the bomba rice have less starch. So I won't do it for risotto, because in risotto we want the creamy spice. We want all the starch get out. So in the bomba rice you have less of it. I don't know if that's clear. This is clear. Bomba, for me, bomba is rather for this type of rice or even the soupy ones, because it's really, really strong. But in the creamy ones, we want the risotto. We want all the starch getting out. So there is no sense to use this kind of, because what this rice makes the difference is to protect from the outside and the temperature, and get the starch inside. I'm going to add a little bit. Now we still have, okay, about 8 minutes for the first 16, and about 11 minutes for the one. Yes. Because with the oven, I can hear. Excuse me. At the end, you mean, or during the coction? The thing is that you do this, you multiply the convection of it, the oven. So it's a different way, but you can do it. You can do it. Yes. A lot of people in Spain, they cover it when they are finished. When you really, really cook a thin one, you have to understand that the ones at the bottom are going to be more strong, more dente. So sometimes we could cover with aluminum or something like that for 4 or 5 minutes, just to make sure that the parts of the top, of the bottom, are well cooked enough. Yes. You have to think that there could be, I don't know, 200 degrees, for example, and if you put it for 5 minutes all with a bottom or something, it's still working. Yes, in a really high temperature.
So you start the oven on 260. Do you reduce it down? This is the maximum on a European oven anyway. So
Yes.
you cook it throughout the
Yeah, starting from the ambient, 250 degrees.
So do you use fan in the oven?
Excuse me?
Fan. Do you use fan in the oven?
Yes, the same. So the thing is that we
250 with fan.
With fat, yes.
Tricky question.
Yeah.
So talking about the starches, what are we doing? The reason that people wash the rice is to reduce the spike of blood sugar
Yeah.
when you eat it. So when we don't do it, when you keep it in, what do we do?
Okay.
We're talking diabetes.
I'm gonna have
resistance,
a-
anybody watching their sugar.
I'm gonna do a tricky answer. Okay. In my case, as you can see, I really enjoy the fat and the sugar and everything. Okay, the flavor is gonna be different. Not only obviously if you have less sugar or less everything is gonna be better for the body. But cooking, I think, for just once a
We're
week.
just gonna ignore it.
Once a week, I will look at it in a different way, I think. But it's going to be, it's a great question because all the cook today is going in this direction. But obviously the fat, everything is going with the flavor, going against our wellness. Yeah.
You can ask me how to do that with rice because there is a hack.
Share with everybody.
So you can kind of very easy start. So we cook twice, 3, 4 nights. And you can cook now sugar spice. If you have these all to the same thing. Yes. You can cook the potatoes, pasta, without fat.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Without sugar. And diabetes.
Well, it's true, yeah.
now I have moved, I'm going to turn it a little bit slower because we have passed over 5 or 6 minutes. So it's like in a medium fire, okay? Because now it's not going to move it, okay? Now in the other way, in the other, we have at least 5 minutes. So we're going to do what I told you, just move a little bit, all of them. Okay, be careful with the. What kind of? Stock. Today, this is a broth made of myself. I have an industry of this. It's meat, veal and pork, and it's cooked with vegetables. But actually, it's more important after this you can smell it. More important the stir fry or the sofrito rather than the broth. You can do this with water. It's going to be really intense. Okay, so I brought here this is to be fast and not here in the class to cook because we need 2 hours the day before and everything. The broth is really important to make it the day before if you have enough time. Everything and in very slow motion. Well, you know this.
The sofrito, chef, do you cook it for how long?
Hmm?
The sofrito, for how long do you cook it?
No, instantly. You fry the onions, the tomato, whatever. You just cook it, and that's it. For example, the morcilla in this case, you just mark a little bit, and it's important to turbo mix it. It's like a pasta.
Should
Yeah.
when you fry it, should it be brown?
Uh-huh.
When you fry it, should it get like brown color?
Yes, it depends on what you're using. For example, in this type of let's see if okay, here. In this case, for example, the brown color because of the morcilla. It's a black color. So black with the tomato and everything because this color. If you don't use for example, you don't use the morcilla, use only the pepper, for example, it's going to be more red color. So it depends on what you can. This is free. This is like freestyle. It depends on what you like. Yes. Okay. Let's see how time left. Okay, here 5 minutes. Just a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah. If I use the saffron, the steams of
The herbs.
should I add in the middle as well, or
In the middle of the time, you mean?
in the middle of the recipe? Because here it's like adding the rice, right?
Yeah, I will do it at the beginning.
In the beginning, the sofrito.
At the beginning with the broth. because the saffron is very important as curcuma or whatever to make it all around, because it's not, I mean, it's very important, like not like the protein that you can get one in one piece and not and don't get in the second. This is very important to be all developed and integrate in the whole thing. So I will do it in the pan with the broth to calculate exactly the quantity that you want to. Okay. Yes. No, the thing is that this is the first time that I'm using this flame. So because I don't, if we can come tomorrow, I will sell 1.3 liters. The thing is that this is the first time I know the intensity of the gas. So I'm beginning in this technique, which is adding. You just not to know, you have to know to see how much time you have left. You know that, yes. The thing is that, for example, in this case, we need 16 minutes to cook the rice strong enough. So if I see, for example, they have 5 minutes left and it's really, really, really dry, and you can hear the oil, so I add a little bit. That's the thing, but that's just for the first time, just to watch. But some of the times in the services, this is important to understand, because some of the time the gas is not working at the same time or whatever. So it's important some of the times that to play short. I say this just to add, because the important thing is that you know that 16, 15, 17 depends on the cereal when it's going to be cooked. So just add a little bit. And at the beginning, I'm adding without moving anything right now, because now if I move it very much, all this starch is going to be out. Okay. In 20 seconds, it's going to mark the first 16 minutes. Okay, we're going to see if probably we need one more or not. It depends. Okay. In my case, as I told you before, I like to be a little bit humid, just a little bit sweat, because when you let it rest, you will leave it rest, take a little rest of 4 minutes. All this liquid that it's like extra liquid is going to be caramelized. Everything in the flavor is going to be inside. Let's see how it's 16 minutes. Just a fast look. Can you see here? See how it's done? It's a little bit liquid, but we're going to wait a little bit, and we're going to have it. Can I take another one? Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait, no, I will, just in case. Don't worry. Remove this. Thank you. Just put it over. Okay, as you can see, for example, this one, you can see probably in that area there. No, I don't see where you can see it. Okay, see how it's a little bit more liquid in the side? Remember I was telling you that because they are concave and twisted. I mean, all these paella pans, when they get burned in the first use, they lose to turn and twist a little bit. So it's basically difficult to get all the same humidity. So we're going to wait, and it's going to be absorbing everything. And so it's going to be a little bit sweat, as I told you, and the flavor is going to be more intense than if we use it really, really, really dry. Okay, but this is depends. You can cook it. You can add more water and get, for example, more wet or the different. It depends on you want. Okay. Okay, this 7 seconds, and it's all done. There we go. Okay, we're gonna separate this one here, which is different. Okay, now, and I don't know, you can smell something a little bit burnt. Okay, it's going. This smell is going to be rusty or toasty. It is only because of this one, because of the flames. In the other one, no. Is it possible to turn this off? Okay. No, yeah, we're done. We're done. Yes. And now we're going to stop like for about 4 or 5 minutes. This is like the broth or whatever. As much time that any rice is really well cooked, when more time you wait, more flavor. Obviously, it's going to be more cold or whatever. But if you eat this, for example, this night or tomorrow, it's going to be a lot more flavor. If you cook it and you stop it, you can see how this grain is really hard. I mean, it's not raw, but I mean it's really crunchy because it is very intense, and then the way it's going to be absorbed, all the flavors are going to be real different. So we want to put a crab for 3 minutes, for example, more, and just waiting, we can try it. Okay. I will recommend you to try at the beginning the ones from the oven, which are basically the same, just 1 spoon, okay, and then probably just a little bit of the one which has been made here, and they make the difference, okay, because obviously it's the same cooker, the same broth, the same products, the same protein, everything is the same, okay, but the difference is going to be really high, okay. Actually, I would love if you guys can use the memory and say what are the difference or what the difference you can feel between one and the other. Okay, so let's wait a little bit. I think with a spoon or with yeah. It's because we don't have just with the quantities just to try. I mean, there's not. Okay. I think it's a very common day. It depends. It's up to you. I think I know.
Or we can do it this way. It's fine. If you want the...
Sure, just going to remove it and go with the spoon and then keep going because they are losing how you say clean spoon. I mean, at the beginning. So there's one. Just do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, that's fine.
You think so?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Right.
Any more question before tasting? We have 1 minute. Excuse me.
The aluminum can, how many servings would go in that?
For today?
No, just the big one.
That's a 50 centimeter diameter. Okay. So this, in my case, in my house, for example, I do it for 2 people.
These big.
Yeah. This is 50 centimeter.
And the small one is
28.
28 for 1
And it's a little bit thin. I mean, if you want to do it at home, and this is for a professional, it's like the perfect thin one, okay? But if you want to do it at home, probably here, instead of 100 grams, I put like 30 or 40 because I want really thin. This is going to be more flavor, the grain is going to be more harder and more crunchy, and the olive oil is going to be more flavor, more tasty and everything. This is very important. Of the 10 basic concepts I show you, this is probably the most important with the cereal, obviously. Not all the cereals you can do this.
Yeah. What did you do with the pepper there?
With that?
Pepper.
The green pepper?
Yeah.
Just for the flavor.
Did you just add olive oil in it?
I just with a little bit of oil, like the chicken. I just mark it for a little bit and then leave it cooked there. For example, the vegetables, it depends on, I don't have time. Just for example, the vegetables in the paella are very important, even if it was seafood or food or whatever. But in my opinion, you can use all of the vegetables that you like, but probably the more sour ones are the ones that you're going to get more influence in the flavor, like artichokes, green garlics, green peppers, green beans, the flat ones, not the round ones, for example. All this kind of vegetables are going to add a lot of flavor to the broth and the sofrito. The other more sweet ones, like cauliflower, like carrots, like all this broccoli or whatever, it's going to be okay if you like it, but the taste is not going to be as high as this type of. So that's why in this recipe I use the green pepper, and a little bit of mushrooms just for the taste. This is the recipe is all full open. Okay.
Can you use red pepper?
Sure, I had lots of actually a lot of people they use the red pepper as a toppings, not during the coction because it's the different flavor, and they put it like in a long cut. When they're out of they just put it in fry. They fried it before, and then when it's out of the oven or in the last minute, they just like painting like a topping. This is very typical. You can find a lot of pictures with the red pepper, but actually we use The ñora, which actually is a red pepper, is a dry pepper, like the original, the paprika, because the flavor is more intense than the red one. The red one is so sweet some other times. I love it. I love it. It depends on you. Okay, so we have time. You want to try it? I think we were thinking now to make like a line here, and you can just get a clean spoon and you can try it. Okay, so please. Excuse me. You should begin here in this line, for example, and then just get a plate just to make sure you don't burn or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to move a little bit with you just to make sure that. There we go.
You want to try it before? You want to try it before?
So when you edit, so when you edit sofrito in your pan, you edit
with okay, here you go, sofrito. I put the broth.
Yeah.
I put the quantity that I like. I move it just to make sure that it's mixing all the sofrito with the broth, and there's going to be the flavor
okay.
at the beginning.
And meat layer was raw.
Yeah, a little bit, like half. I just mark it, not real raw. I just mark like both sides, which is not made inside, and now you can find it not dry if you do. If you cook it at the beginning, as you can eat it, it's going to be really, really, really dry here. Okay. Also with the same with you can see the peppers are just mark it, and the mushrooms I don't even mark them because they are very, very soft. Okay.
If you're making seafood instead of chicken, would you adjust the amount of broth, temperature?
For example, in the seafood, this depends on of the taste. In the seafood, for example, we don't use obviously morcilla or whatever, but we use this pepper, green pepper, to make more power for the broth. I mean this ñora. It's all done. This red pepper that I was using, this very sweet and sour. It's the powerful that gives to the seafood broth is like 100%. And then you can use, for example, onion, garlic, and tomato, and this pepper, and you turbo mix it, and you combine this with seafood broth, and you will love it.
And you cook it the same amount of time?
Exactly the same. For example, imagine that you remember the 10 basic concepts. You use, instead of 50 grams of chicken, you use 100 grams. You will have a problem because you will need less broth. If you put more ingredients, less broth. So you have to calculate both of them.
Would you cook it shells, or would you cook the brown shells, or would you
Look at the beginning, sure. I mean, in here it depends on your taste or everything. We cook everything. I mean, in my case there are no limit of this. If you like it, do it, like the bellies or whatever, or it depends. This black sausage is made. This 70% is blood. It's blood with this dry. Do you like it? Yes, try.
What's your favorite way to cook
Huh?
paella? What's your favorite way to cook paella?
The way
On a gas,
Oh,
or
mate.
an oven, or open
with
fire?
with the open fire, with the small branches, but with a rooftop. The smoke in the aroma, it's
Have you tried to add, smoke? No, not artificial smoke.
no. Yes,
Smoke machine.
actually, I am a consultant, and I have a lot of restaurants that we use this kind of smoke, artificial
Yeah,
smoke.
they have chips and this.
A lot of time with rosemary. So I have a lot of people that they burn rosemary in a small box. Just before serving the plate, they put, for example, this one in a plate, or this they put in a small, like a shoe box or something, and you burn a rosemary and you leave it there for 20 seconds, and the aroma, the humus is going to be inside. Yes. I mean, there are no limit. I mean, this depends on your. The most important thing is to cook it the proper way, the cereal, because it's going to absorb everything. So before tasting, do you mind if you smell this? Just smell it. See how you will find the flavor here. This is more interesting rather than the one from the broth. You want to smell it?
Oh, now they need to. Can I ask what is the oil, that sausage, onions?
Morcilla? No?
What is material?
Morcilla. Morcilla, it's black sausage that we have in Spain, typical.
They come up with nice color, bit like.
Um?
Very nice color.
Yes, yes.
Do you have any tips when you cook, like when you cut an onion, how not to cry? Because like when I'm cooking
Yeah,
in the kitchen,
I have a lot of friends with the same problem. The problem is not the ice; it's the smell, it's everything. I have a lot of friends that they use this going underneath the swimming pool, this big mask. If you have control the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. If you don't have you don't cover all of them, you have the same
But when
problem.
you're in a professional kitchen, for example, and you need to cut the onion and all that stuff, like
I'm used to it.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yes, I'm used to it, and just okay. I'll try to any friend or something do it for you, but I think there's no solution.
Okay, cool.
A lot of people they do it with this mask, this submarine mask. A lot of people that I know. It depends. It depends. I'm not sure. I've read that too many people. It depends on how you say this organ here. The left. Yes, it depends in how high you have several levels. This problem with the onions are higher or lower. So that's how I say, okay, just do it fast, as fast as you can, and
That's what I'm doing.
and wash it with water or something.
Just a question. You said you have to blend it.
Uh-huh. Well, it's an opinion. You can do a sofrito or whatever. If you cut it really thin, you can use it.
Okay. Because I'm from Peru, so we do not do paella, but we do a lot of plates with
Yes.
dishes with rice.
Sure.
But we do it only with this sofrito that we made, and at the end you do not taste it because when it's really well cooked, it disappears. But the taste.
Yeah,
always
yes.
stays.
Actually, if you really turbo mix it, it's gonna be more intense to the whole path. I mean, to the whole soup. If you just cut it, you can find in different spoons different flavors.
Okay.
That's the thing. This is very maths. This is better to actually. What I do is I combine. Yes, I distribute the sofrito with the broth, and I mix it. Okay, that's it. Let's go. This is the best thing. But do it at the end, not at the beginning.
There's a huge difference doing it with the.
Absolutely,
It's amazing because you have this crust.
absolutely.
You will love the crust.
Yes, the thing is that it's more interesting, it's better, but for a professional, it's more difficult. Imagine that I can do 10, I can do 40 at the same time. No, in the oven, and there I can do 6. No, it's a good flavor. Actually, if you don't try the other one, probably you won't compare.
Flavor is better.
Yeah, the thing is that's why I told you just first try this and then go to the other one.
And it's impossible to actually get a soccerrato.
Yeah. Yes, but the thing is that for a professional, it's very difficult to control 6 or 7 at the same time.
Not only that, there you can have 10 different ones.
Yes.
You can have seafood.
Yeah. Yes, you can do this. You can do it. Yes, this is great. Yes, this is mechanic. This is pragmatic. This is professional. Efficient. So this because some of the times that I'm teaching people for professional people, so it depends on what you want to serve. There's a BMW or Mercedes, there's a Toyota, and there's a Skoda. It depends. It's up to you. No one is the best one. It depends on your expectations, your budget. It depends. At the time, yes. This you have seen how fast we can do a lot of this, and the flavor is not bad. I mean, this is really consistent. And how do you think about the strength of the